All right, everybody. Pretty much in line with last week, right? Same idea, same basic concept where you have a game where your team starts out slow, starts out sluggish. You're not terribly happy with what you're seeing, and you're even maybe a little bit worried there going into that second quarter. You're wondering if maybe the team is just going to have one really bad year after the exodus last season. And you're like, okay, it's not the most shocking thing in the world, but at the same time, you know that the team should be a little bit better than that. And that first quarter, plus maybe the first few minutes of the second quarter, you're watching Eastern Michigan dominate the line of scrimmage. You're watching Eastern Michigan run the ball all over you when that should have been the big focus in practice this week because you kind of got run over by Weber State last week, and you probably knew that Eastern Michigan was going to try to run the ball a lot. You're watching this offense not pushing the ball down the field at all. It almost looks like they can't do it. You watch them run little 3 yard routes on 3rd and 6 that don't go anywhere. You're watching them just punt and punt and punt. You're watching a blocked punt, and you're like, yeah, they're just not there. They're just not there right now. And then finally they wake up, they realize, wait a minute, we are still a much better team than Eastern Michigan, and they take care of it for the rest of the way. So 30-9, and I mean, honestly, not covering the spread mostly came down to like that fumble in the red zone near the end with Devin Williams. If he doesn't completely screw that play up and decide to play it, full contact the way that he did, we probably get in the end zone there. We probably cover the spread. So, split the difference there. That doesn't really matter to me, and it shouldn't really matter to anybody unless you did bet on the game. If you did, I'm sorry, or you're welcome, I guess. But the thing that matters, once we got past that initial four, I think it was like the first 4 drives where things just didn't really make a lot of sense. The play calling, the play design, the play of the players. Will Rogers looked really, really good. He was hitting every throw he made as this game went on, including the ones he tried to push downfield. They were able to find some success on the ground, not as much as you would like, but the ground game started to click in. Offensive line definitely improved as this game went on. And you came out of this game feeling like this team should be able to score enough points to win more than they lose this year, or at least about as much as they lose this year. So this team didn't lose, or no, what I should say is this team didn't diminish in what they had at the receiver spot and tight end spot as much as I thought they did. Like, it's not great. It's not as good as it was last year, but Boston, that guy has a lot of intriguing talent. I like what I'm seeing from Boston right now. I think obviously the Coleman kid, we've already talked about him. We know what's going on there. He's making me not really miss Dylan Johnson at all. You have Decker at tight end. He might be better than both the tight ends we had last year because both those guys were so undersized. Decker is a bigger guy who is also a big time downfield threat. Really like what I'm seeing from him. And I don't think this team can hang with the better teams in this league, but I think this offense is enough to allow us to take care of business against teams like this. And I wasn't sure about that at first. I suspected it was probably true, but I didn't get the sense that this team would be able to rack up the 30 plus point games they would need to feel good about a game against a team like Eastern Michigan. So I'm pretty enthused about what I'm seeing from this offense right now. Pretty enthused with what I'm seeing from quarterback play. Will Rogers is exactly what I expected. Yes, I would have preferred one or two other players. I would have preferred to get Riley Leonard. I would have preferred to get Arch Manning even. I would have preferred to get Cam Ward. But Will Rogers is exactly as advertised. He makes the plays he needs to make. He's very accurate. He's very smart. Early in this game, he had a couple plays that looked bad, like that miss on 3rd and short, where honestly, I don't know. It just kind of looked like he thought that the tight end was going to keep running. He had the play where he slipped and fell down coming out of his play action. I'm so happy that he got it together by the end of this game because I don't want to say bad things about him because I know how good he is, right? I mean, sitting here and trying to say that Will Rogers is no good, like there's mounds and mounds of evidence that he's a really good collegiate quarterback. So, okay. I'm pretty happy with that side of the ball. The defense, I mean, we're going to have a problem with these teams that can run the ball at an elite level because we cannot stop the run even against these teams all that well. For a lot of this game early on, when the score was close enough for them to be able to do it, Eastern Michigan could kind of impose their will on this rushing attack. They threw a lot of things at us and we couldn't really handle it. So I'm worried about that. That's going to be a big problem when we play teams like Michigan because I know people are looking at Michigan today and they're kind of saying like, "Oh, Michigan's no good. Maybe Washington could beat them." But what I saw today, they would just run the ball on us, and I don't know if we could do anything to stop it. I think it'd be too much to ask. So I'm not really buying that. By the way, Notre Dame kicking a 63-yard game-winning field goal here. Oh, not even close. Okay. I'm worried about that. I will say this pass rush fed families today. I was very happy with the pass rush. We saw it on 3-man pressures, 4-man pressures, blitzes. We threw some exotic stuff at Eastern Michigan, and whatever we did seemed to work. We had like 5 or 6 sacks in this game. Once we forced Eastern Michigan to have to throw the ball a lot, I was very happy with all the quarterback pressure we were getting. So that part of this game, absolutely awesome. I love the play of our corners and safeties as well. They make plays on the ball. They stick really tight in coverage. And I was really concerned that losing Muhammad this offseason to Oregon would be a killer, but it really hasn't been any kind of a problem yet. Now, I know we're going to play better teams, but these cornerbacks are hanging with these receivers really well. So kudos to them. And I think that's most of what you can say about a game like this. You don't really prove much in a game like this. It's a good enough win. It's not a great win. You definitely put some concern in people's minds with the way that first, I'd say, 20 minutes went. But it ultimately does look like a team that is good enough to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And they're probably not good enough to beat the teams they're not supposed to beat, if that makes sense. So, as advertised, right? I think that's what you have to say about it. It's pretty much as advertised. So I'm going to go and get out of here. Probably another video later today. And yeah, you're going to be you're going to be locking down for NFL football action starting tomorrow probably. I know there are more college games tonight, but a lot of them are not super compelling. But bow down to Washington. We go to 2-0. Let's keep this up. Let's build some wins early because wins are going to be hard to come by later in the season. I'm just going to say that right now. It could be tough. So enjoy it while it's here because it might not be here too much longer. You never know. Really happy to see Devin Williams get out there and do some stuff as well. That was cool. So, yeah, pretty happy. See you guys later. Go Hawks and bow down to Washington.